guys, welcome back to At the Table. We've got a spooky theme here, but we're actually doing fun stuff today. It's all about treats, no tricks. So we have 2 dessert recipes for you guys. It's actually National Oatmeal Day on October 29th. So it's coming up this Friday. And in honor of National Oatmeal Day, we're gonna make 2 really tasty recipes. They are more of that dessert style recipes that you could make in honor of Oatmeal Day, but also for a little treat when you are craving it. So the first one we're gonna make, it takes a little bit longer in the oven, so we're gonna go ahead and get that one started first to save some time. It is an apple crumb dessert. It is from the My Plate Kitchen, which I've made some recipes from there before. We are doing it a little differently because you know that's just how we always do it, but we are using a different type of pan here. It calls for a 9x9 square inch baking dish. We didn't have that here at the office, so I got a 13x9, and it'll just probably cook a little bit faster. So when you're looking at the range of cook times, go to the lower end and it'll be fine. So we are going to start with spraying our pan, and our oven is set to 350, so that is already on, preheating, getting to where it needs to be. And we just use some no stick cooking spray. I just use vegetable oil spray. So what I'm gonna do next is cut my apples into thin slices, actually. So I'm gonna do it this way. You can really do it however you'd like, but if there's any bad spots, of course, trying to get rid of those. Our recipe does call for us to peel the apples. I'm just not gonna worry about it. It'll cook down with the peels. If you just really don't like apple peels or something, then you can, of course, go ahead and peel those and cut them into those thin slices, but we're gonna keep them. And I'm to the core. So we've got a couple different sizes here, and that way we can really coat the bottom of our pan really well. So there's one. We are gonna use 4 apples, and these, I believe, are Honeycrisp apples. I just thought that those would sound good for baking, which usually Honeycrisp is a nice baking apple. You could do a different apple if that's what you had on hand. It does not specify in our recipe. So whatever is easiest for you. So in honor of National Oatmeal Day, I wanted to talk a little bit about oatmeal and just whole grains in general. So oatmeal is a great substitute if you are looking for something to add to your different baking dishes. That's why we are baking today, because a lot of our recipes actually utilize oatmeal when you are baking. And oatmeal does tend to be a gluten-free. Now there are I think some oats you have to double check to make sure they're not made in a factory that also produces wheat. So just double checking that if you do have celiacs. But I love using oats. They are considered a whole grain. They do have all 3 of those parts of the grain that we talk about being so important. So oats are a nice way to get your whole grains in. They're also great for breakfast as well. So when we're thinking about the different types of oats, there are several different kinds, and some of them are gonna be a little bit better for keeping you fuller for longer than others. So when we're thinking about our oats, we wanna consider the process that it has taken to get those oats how they are. So for instance, our least processed oats are gonna be the steel cut. However, those also take the longest to cook. So when we're thinking about steel cut oats and the cook times, those oats that tend to take a lot longer to cook tend to be less processed. They're more in their, I guess, natural form. When I say least processed, it means there hasn't been as many things done to them from getting them from the field to the table. So that's what we think about when we're talking about processing. Steel cut would be best in terms of the least processed, which means your body takes a little bit more work to actually break those apart because they haven't been very processed, which means it's going to keep you fuller for longer. The next type of oats that we find are going to be those old-fashioned oats. And our old-fashioned are, again, less processed. They don't take quite as long to cook. However, they are still not as processed. They are basically dried, chopped up and dried, but they're not quite as they're chopped up further than our steel cut oats are. And then our next one are the quick cooking, which have been chopped up even further and dried. So they take a little bit less time. And then your instant oats are going to be the ones that have been cooked, dried, chopped up, cooked again, dehydrated. So all that you have to do is add some boiling water. So thinking about all of those different types of oats, each one has had a little bit further processing done, which means your body doesn't have to do quite as much work with those. So if you're trying to eat oatmeal to help you feel fuller for longer, instant oats are still a good choice. You might need to pair it with something else that will help to keep you fuller for longer. Versus if you're just doing steel cut oats, you're gonna stay full for longer throughout the day. So we are gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna finish up this last apple, and then we'll see you back to get our apple crumb dessert all finished.
Every year, 7 million 911 calls are made in North Carolina.
911, what's your emergency?
Will you answer the call? Every second counts. You can be that lifeline. People in crisis look to us for assistance. We provide guidance and support until physical help can arrive at the scene. Join us and make a difference in our community. Be the calm in the chaos. Be the voice in the dark. It's the hardest career you'll ever love. Will you answer the call? Discover more at it.nc.gov/911careers.
Hey guys, so we have our apples chopped up, and I have placed them on the bottom, and I just kind of layered them in a way so that we've got a little bit of a layer on the outside, but then also they're just slowly layered inside. You want to try to get them evenly if possible, but with 4 apples, you know, it's not going to be perfect. So that is okay. Just get them on the bottom of your pan and you are good. So next we're going to work on our mixture. So first thing we have is that oatmeal mixture. So we're going to add half a cup of quick oats. So remember in talking about the difference in these, and let's see if you can really see a difference. Don't know if you guys can see this that well, but the old-fashioned is going to be a little bit thicker. They've been sliced a little bit thicker and not quite as chopped up as your quick oats are in tiny little pieces, so they've been chopped up further, which if you're thinking about that, your body trying to break these two things down, if this is bigger, it's got more to kind of work for to start breaking down. If this is already chopped in smaller pieces, then it's not going to take quite as much work for your body to break these down. Also, they just cook faster, so if you're making a recipe and you're trying to have something that will cook a little bit more quickly, the quick oats are a great option. So we're going to use half a cup, and our recipe does specify that you use quick oats. However, you could probably do old-fashioned and it would be okay. You might just have to cook it for a little bit longer, so keeping that in mind. So we have half a cup, and then we are going to do 1/4 cup of brown sugar. This is a dessert, so yeah, there will be a little bit of sugar in there. And then we also have just a little bit of cinnamon. So we have 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. This is such a yummy fall recipe, so if you're looking for a nice fall dessert, would also probably be pretty good with some ice cream too, if you've got that. So we're just gonna mix all of that together. This is that crumb, kind of that crumb breading that we've got. Notice we're not really using, it's called a fat-free recipe, but we're not using any butter or oil or anything like that. It's strictly our oats, our cinnamon, and our brown sugar. So that is all that we're adding to this. So we do kind of cut some of that saturated fat down by not adding the butter to this or oil. And a lot of your crumb dessert recipes will tend to call for butter. So we're able to reduce that some. So just mixing it well so that all that cinnamon is not just clumped together in one spot. And then what we're gonna do is evenly, I'm actually gonna just use my hands here. I'll move this so you guys can see, is we're gonna just try to evenly sprinkle this over the top. It says to use a spoon, but I like to use my hands. This would also be a fun one with kids if they enjoy using their hands to play with some of when they're making food, so. And that brown sugar will give it this nice kind of caramelization as it starts to cook and just make a really yummy syrup. So there's that. And then the last thing is to add a little bit of juice. So we're actually gonna use some apple juice. Oop, I had that open. We're gonna use apple juice. I've got 100% apple juice here. That is what you wanna look for. Make sure that it's not like a juice blend. We're looking for 100%. We also wanna make sure that it's not only a juice blend, but it's not a like a sugared up juice drink, which they do sell those as well. All right, so we are gonna do 1/3 of a cup of apple juice. And that looks about right. Might be a little bit extra, but that's okay. And we're just going to lightly pour this over the top. That'll help it to kind of have some steam, give it a little bit of liquid mixture in there. And then our last step is to cover it. So I'm gonna use a little bit of aluminum foil here. To cover our pan. And we're gonna throw this in the oven. It says 20 to 30 minutes covered. So covering it, that liquid will begin to kind of cook up and kind of make a steam, so it'll cook really nicely. And we're gonna do about 20 minutes since I said, remember, this is a little bit longer. So I'm gonna throw this in the oven. We'll see you guys back in just a second to work on our next recipe. Hey guys, today we're at the Sampson County Extension talking all about Ag Day. So Eileen, tell us a little bit about what is Ag Day? What are we gonna have?
Ag Day is a great event that we have every other year, and we'll be having it this year on October 30th at the Agri Expo Center in downtown Clinton. We hope that you'll come join us for Ag Day. We have lots of fun-filled activities for you, things like cow milking, learning how to paint a barn quilt, a drone demonstration, and pony rides, all kinds of fun activities and things to see. You'll be able to stand right beside a full-size combine or tractor. Think about all the things you see as you travel through Sampson County and agriculture that's growing around you and being harvested. Those are some of the things that you'll see.
I can't wait. We also are gonna have live music, food trucks. We've got a comedian and a magician. So it will definitely be fun for the whole family. Free admission.
That's right. Admission is free.
And what are our
Some
hours?
of the food is going to be free. We're going to have free ice cream. But like Sydney said, lots of food trucks, lots of variety of food for you to choose from.
So check us out October 30th. We can't wait to see you guys there. Hey guys, so we have our apple crumb in the oven, and what we're gonna work on next is a pumpkin pie baked oat recipe. This is super simple. It is single serving, so what we're making today will be for one, and you can throw it in your blender, mix it up, and then you bake it. So it's pretty simple. All you really need is a blender or food processor to bake this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 3 tablespoons of pumpkin pie, canned pumpkin. So this is just regular canned pumpkin. You don't want to buy the pumpkin pie mix. If you do the pumpkin pie mix, it has a lot of sugar. They were actually out of canned pumpkin when I went the other day. Luckily, I had another can at home, so I just went and grabbed that. But I checked out the pumpkin pie, canned pumpkin pie, to see about that, and it was like 16 grams of added sugar to it. So it's loaded with sugar. I would rather just us make our own and do our own amount of sugar than buy that. So regular plain canned pumpkin is preferred. You can also do baked pumpkin and then puree it yourself if you want to go that route. So then we're also going to do half a cup of quick oats. And then we have a little bit of flaxseed. So this is ground flaxseed. This one says milled, but it's basically the same thing. And actually, the ground is better than whole flax seeds. Your body helps to use these nutrients better when they're already ground. When it's whole, think of it as corn. So it kind of goes right through you. You don't get to absorb all those good omegas that we get from the ground. So just keep that in mind. It will still have fiber as whole flaxseed, but when it's ground up, your body can utilize those nutrients better. So we're doing half a teaspoon of this. And this really does last forever. You can store it in the fridge or the freezer, but you just use a little bit here and there, and you get a good amount. So it might be pricey to purchase for a first time purchase, but once you have it, you might not have to buy it for a good while. And then we also have just a little bit of baking powder. This will help our dish to rise just a little bit. So 1/4 teaspoon of that, and some cinnamon. So 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Again, this is for a single serving. If you wanted to do more, then you could absolutely just blend it all together and put in multiple ramekins. But this is great if you just have a sweet tooth and you want, you're craving something, maybe nobody else in your family really wants anything, you can make your own little dessert. And then we need 1/3 cup of milk. This is a 2% milk that we just already had here. That needs to be used up. And the very last thing is our maple syrup. So we're just doing 1 teaspoon of maple syrup. Okay, and we're gonna throw our lid on over here and blend it. Okay, so that's pretty good. You want it until it's blended pretty smooth. That looks good to me. Everything looks mixed together, so that is our goal, is for it to be nice and mixed and ready to go. I'm gonna move this. And we're gonna throw it in our little ramekin dish. So a smaller food processor might be even better for this just because you don't have a ton of liquid. But as you can see, you need one that's pretty high powered so that it can blend everything really nicely. So just keep that in mind as you're making this. It smells delicious. And I just love that we're using these oats. So another thing that I think would be great is to put this in a 9x9 dish. If you have one of those, a little square baking dish, and you could make these kind of into little bars if you wanted to. So what we're gonna do is just pop this into the oven it's 350 as well. So both of these recipes are at 350. We're gonna bake it for 12 minutes. We'll see you when it's all done.
After completing my contract, I still have to buy out of it? Come on. Here's your sign.
Switch to the sign that's keeping homes secure and customers happy all over the area. Security from Star Communications. We pride ourselves on fair pricing and quick, friendly service every time.
Somebody try to break into this place?
Security from Star Communications.
Hey guys, so we have our desserts all done. They look great. Our apple crumb dessert, I'm gonna show you guys what that looks like. Get a little bit of this here, but you can see that some of the cinnamon, brown sugar has kind of melted a little bit towards the bottom. The goal here is that your apples are fully cooked. So once those have softened enough that they look ready, then it's ready for eating. So very pretty. We will set that to the side as a single serving. All right. And then the last thing that we have here is our little pumpkin pie dessert. And this, like I said, it's a single serving, so it is hot, by the way. Single serving, so it's not very big, but you could make this double or triple the recipe and put it into a square baking dish. It'd be great like that as well. So some options, you do have a couple different things that you could do to top this. So one is to add a little bit of extra maple syrup to the very top. So I'm gonna lightly pour this. You could also use honey if you do not have maple syrup. But keep in mind that maple syrup is gonna be really good with the pumpkin and the cinnamon, so those flavors kind of all go together. I'm gonna sprinkle just a little bit more cinnamon on top. Just for flair. And then I don't have any nut butter, but that was another option that you could add some nut butter on the very top. Almond butter I think would be really good, or just peanut butter. And then it also said you could do pecans, which we didn't have pecans, but I thought walnuts would be really tasty on top of this as well. So sprinkle it with your walnuts, and then you've got a little dessert, little single serving dessert. So these are both really great ways that you can use oats. Obviously a little bit of a different way. Of course, oatmeal is a great way. It's to get those oats in. You can have them at breakfast and add in those nuts and nut butters to your oatmeal as well. Or there's tons of recipes that use oats even to coat your chicken and bake it in the oven. So look a little bit more at oats and find some different recipes of ways that you could utilize oats. Hopefully you enjoy these, have these as your treat for the week, and I hope y'all have a good one. We'll see you guys back next time.